Washington stands at the crossroads of war and peace. President Trump pushes for a summit between Zelensky and Putin. The future of Europe's security hangs in the balance. Air raid sirens still echo over Kyiv as diplomacy races ahead. Will this be the path to peace, or a step into deeper peril? Washington remains center stage as US President Donald Trump intensifies efforts to end the war in Ukraine. Following high-level meetings at the White House, Trump announced that he is arranging a direct summit between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin to hold talks within 2 weeks. The location is yet to be determined, but momentum gathered as Trump spoke by phone with Putin on August 18th. Shortly after meeting Zelensky and top European leaders, including German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and French President Emmanuel Macron. European leaders joined Trump and Zelensky for collaborative negotiations, focusing on long-term security guarantees for Kyiv. Notably, the US affirmed its commitment to support European-led efforts. Trump clarified that these would not necessarily mean deployment of US troops, but rather a NATO-like security presence for Ukraine, pending further talks with EU partners. Zelensky, addressing reporters after the White House meeting, signaled readiness for direct talks with Putin, emphasizing that holding out for a ceasefire before the meeting could entangle both sides in further preconditions. Instead, Zelensky advocated meeting face-to-face to chart a path toward peace and end hostilities that have devastated Ukraine.
We don't have any date. We just confirmed after this productive meeting with the President and then with all our colleagues, with the partners, we confirmed that we are ready for a trilateral meeting. And if Russia proposed to President of the United States bilateral, and then we will see the result of bilateral, and then it can be the trilateral. So I said always, so Ukraine will never stop on the way to peace, and we are ready for any kind of formats, but on the level of leaders.
The world now watches closely as these historic negotiations prepare to unfold, with leaders hopeful for an early resolution to the grinding conflict. US President Donald Trump has given a clear assurance to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that the United States will help guarantee Ukraine's security in the event of a peace agreement with Russia. Following a crucial meeting at the White House, Trump reaffirmed America's commitment to stand by Ukraine, stating that comprehensive security arrangements remain a top priority in the ongoing diplomatic efforts. The US, according to Trump, is focused on creating substantial guarantees for Ukraine's defense and sovereignty, working alongside NATO allies and European partners. At this point, American officials clarify direct US military involvement is not on the table, but a NATO-style security presence is being considered as a core proposal for long-term stability.
There'll be a lot of help. When it comes to security, there's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good. They are first line of defense because they're Europe, but we're going to help them out also. We'll be involved.
We supported the idea of the United States, of personnel of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war, and we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good.
But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made without even the mention of the words ceasefire.
President Zelensky told reporters that specific security guarantees are expected to be hammered out within 10 days. Following intensive talks in Washington, he outlined that American and European teams will now work around the clock to deliver a framework which will ensure Ukraine's safety once the current hostilities end. Zelensky described the discussions as productive and expressed hope that these agreements would finally put Ukraine on firm ground, both politically and militarily.
Security guarantees will probably be unpacked by our partners, and more details will emerge. All of this will... It is important that the United States is sending a clear signal that it will be among the countries helping to coordinate and will also be a participant in the security guarantees for Ukraine. I believe this is a major step forward. The question of territories is something we will leave between me and Putin. There is a package of weapons, US weapons which we do not have, and which primarily includes aircraft, air defense systems. There indeed is a package with our proposals worth $90 billion. And we have agreements with the US president that when our export opens, they will buy Ukrainian drones. This is important for us. This will finance our domestic production. Our enterprises will have money for production, to increase production. It is important. Be formalized on paper within the next week to 10 days.
According to media reports, diplomatic sources indicate that these security guarantees, if finalised, could represent a breakthrough after years of conflict and intermittent talks. As the world watches, the coming days are set to be pivotal for Ukraine's future. Negotiators are under pressure to deliver a workable peace plan and strong guarantees that could usher in a desperately needed era of calm and reconstruction for the war-torn nation. The White House gave Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky a well-mannered welcome, signalling strong support for Ukraine amid the ongoing conflict. However, despite the warm reception, many critical questions remain unanswered. Key details about security arrangements, timelines and concrete peace proposals are still unclear, with diplomatic efforts continuing behind closed doors. Observers say the visit highlighted solidarity but left the global community waiting for more clarity on the road ahead. At the same time, the Kremlin disclosed that Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump discussed raising the level of representatives involved in the Ukraine peace talks. This move indicates a desire to deepen diplomatic engagement and possibly unblock stalled negotiations. Kremlin officials suggested that elevating the talks could lead to more substantive discussions, reflecting Moscow's interest in advancing dialogue despite ongoing complexities. Media reports suggest that these developments reflect cautious optimism but underline the challenges that remain. As both sides prepare for potentially decisive talks, the world watches closely, hoping these diplomatic efforts will translate into meaningful progress. The next few weeks will be crucial in determining whether the diplomatic momentum can bring lasting peace to Ukraine.